Good clap. Well, hey everybody, it's Hanna and Madge, and today we are being joined by Suzanne Park. Suzanne, thank you for coming. We're actually doing a very special episode of TeaTime Tunes. We're filming from Parnassus Books in Green Hills, and we're so excited to be here because Parnassus is one of me and Madge's favorite havens to kind of just browse the books, and we spent many an afternoon here, so it's really special to be chatting with Suzanne today from Parnassus. So I think we're just going to jump right in, and we're going to talk about Suzanne's newest novel, One Last Word. We're super excited. Yeah. So could you just give us,
me.
Of course, yeah. So could you just give us in your own words like a little premise of One Last Word?
Yes. So this story follows Sarah Che, who is on the cover. She is an app developer, and she creates this app called One Last Word, and it allows you to send messages to whomever you want when you pass. And then when another Sarah Che dies, her obituary gets posted online, and all of the drunkenly drafted messages that she had in her outbox all get released at the same time, and then she ends up having to deal with the aftermath of messages being sent to her ex-best friend, her overbearing parents, and her unrequited crush from high school, Harry Shim.
That's a lot to clean up.
Yes, so it's a disaster.
Sounds like it. So we wanted to know, this is such a really fun plot, we wanted to know if you were using this app and you had your messages, what would they be, and who would be the 3 people that they would go out to?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I have thought about it a little bit because I was like, would I send something to my parents? No, I think I've been pretty open with them lately. I think there's mostly like ex-bosses and teachers that I feel like kind of underestimated me. So I think for sure there would be people like in my past that worked with me, or there's some people who, this sounds terrible, but it's like, I don't think you're as smart as you think you are. I think I want you to know that. I just want to go out like that. And am I petty? Yes, I'm a little bit petty, but I feel like my heart would feel better after knowing that they received something.
Suzanne Park's One Last Word.
Yeah.
It's a little bit petty.
It's a tiny bit petty. It's a little bit, yes. So for sure, it would be a few ex-bosses that I could think of. Like, I won't name names. And then maybe a teacher or two thrown in there just to be like,
Look at me now.
Yeah, look at me now. There's probably things you could have said that was a little bit nicer. There was one English teacher I had in freshman year who gave me a 0 for some sort of Shakespeare poem interpretation, and I had done the assignment, so I said, like, this is pretty sad that you gave me a 0, because I thought somebody had died and she had just left this person, like it's like the end of the relationship, and he's like, you're right, and he gave me a 10.
Oh my gosh. But here you are now, 7 novels
Thank
later.
you for that
like
great.
It does, yeah. He was out to get you.
Yes, that's right.
But like you just said, you have 7 novels that you've written or published since 2020.
Yes.
And they all have very rich cast of characters. And we were wondering if you see yourself in any of the characters and which ones and why.
Oh my gosh. Yes, in some ways, because so all of my adult novels take place in the workplace. So I think there are elements from my own experience having worked in corporate America that end up in the novel. So I would say probably out of all of my books, maybe my first adult debut novel, Loathe at First Sight, Melody Jew. She's a video game developer, and she has to release a game in a very short period of time and is thrown into like the worst situation at this company, and she just handles it really well, but like she's just thrown everything, and I feel like everything I put her through that either happened to me or happened to people close to me. So I think her personality and the way she handles things with humor, I think that would probably be the closest.
Okay, yeah. So you currently reside in Los Angeles, but you grew up in Goodlettsville, which is
Yes.
right around the corner from here.
Yes.
When did young Suzanne know she wanted to be a writer, and was there a particular book or author that really inspired you?
I don't know if I really have thought too much about like how reading shaped me, but I think that's probably when really interest in books came out. So back in the day, I loved like Encyclopedia Brown. I loved Harriet the Spy, books like that, which had a series and like a lot of series, and would just read one after the other. I think that got me into reading.
Right.
And then they got me into storytelling. So I would say back then, maybe when I was 7 or 8 is when I started really being more of an avid reader. And then I don't remember your question.
Well, I think it's really cool that it sounds like you were really into books, and that's one form of storytelling is reading. And then you were a stand-up comedian for a little while as well, and that's kind of a different form of storytelling in a way.
Yes.
But you used to be a stand-up comedian. You were on BET. You became a semi-finalist in NBC's Stand Up for Diversity showcase, and you even performed at Zanies, which is our Nashville comedy club. Do you have a favorite comedian?
I do have a few. I would say the ones that are more dry in their humor really get me going. So, Jim Gaffigan comes to mind, Dimitri Martin. I know there's others. My daughter really likes Bo Burnham.
Okay.
And he has his charm and his hilarity too. So I understand why she likes his songs. But and then she watches it with me, so I've started to appreciate other forms of comedy. Yes, for sure. So I would say probably those two, and then I think there's somebody. Ali Wong is great. And yes, but Shen Wang is my favorite, though. I would say I rarely go to comedy clubs anymore, but when I do go, it's like a big deal for me. So I did go to see him at the Improv. So I would say that he's probably top.
Nice.
Well, I have a question. So you said you gave up Netflix for a whole year to write your debut book. Were there any specific shows that you felt like you missed out on? Anything that like you really wanted to watch that like
Do you regret writing?
Yes, I agree. I regret everything. You know how it is when, especially, I don't say early Netflix, but back then in 2016 to 2019, there's always like a lot more chatter that was everybody's watching the same thing. I don't remember what was released then, but I do know it was like, when people are watching the shows like Game of Thrones or that sort of thing, I would try to follow along. But I know I fell off the map for sure during that time, and it was hard to get back into talking about stuff. But yeah, it was not easy because I love watching and just relaxing after work and after dinner and just winding down and then just turning something on. And the fact that I was saying, I'm going to put that remote away and I'm just going to write. It was probably one of the hardest things I've had to do as an adult.
Pretty
It sounds like
hardcore.
it's paid off though.
Yeah, you have 7 novels.
Yes. So that is one way to cut out time. It's not like you go above and beyond. It's like, no, I had to give up something, and sadly.
Right.
Yes.
But I think it all worked out pretty well. You can catch up on Netflix.
Yeah, that's true. I can binge watch now, a little bit later.
So you're a romance novelist. What is your hot take on pickup lines? And do you have a favorite pickup line?
Oh gosh, my daughter has these corny ones that are.
Those are the best.
Yeah. I can't think of any, but I remember one that really made my friend like completely weirded out because there's so much to this that it just stuck with me. Where we worked in this big ad agency, and the security guard, he said to her. And this is really creepy, so I don't recommend this to anybody.
So what not to do?
Yes, what not to do. He stopped my friend and said, like, I think he made her security badge not work, so she had to talk to him. Like, there's some weirdness already. It's very strange.
It's like some work he put in.
Yes, he put a lot of work. And then he said, did you fall from heaven because something about an angel? I don't even remember.
I feel like I get the gist.
Yes.
It's not going well for him.
And then out of like from under the security like desk, he pulled out a rose. So there's
that was premeditated.
Yes.
Premeditated.
So I don't recommend any combination of what I explained just now.
That was so premeditated.
Everything, everything, the rose, everything. And she just did not know what to say.
That's
was a little
awkward. And then she couldn't even get through her
No, she had to keep talking to him until he like cleared her access.
Okay, so pickup lines is a no.
That degree, I think that level of planned pickup line, I like the more spontaneous ones, I would say.
For
Yes.
Sure, for sure.
And corny ones can be funny if they're laugh out loud absurd. But
Exactly. Yes.
But if they're too planned, now I know it can be really weird. Yeah.
So another question that we had was, hold on. You started your career in stand-up and then you moved into marketing and advertising, so you kind of had several past lives. Now you've transitioned to writing full-time. What have you learned over the years from pursuing a career in a creative industry, and what would you say is the most important thing for budding authors and artists and anyone pursuing a creative field to kind of know? What advice could you give them?
So I think a lot about like the fact that I had this business background and then sort of ended up in a creative field, but I don't feel like that experience was wasted. So a lot of it informs what goes into my books. So I would say like everybody's life experiences can go into their work. So don't ever think like I'm not on the right path, I'm not doing the right thing, this isn't where I'm supposed to be, because all of that can sometimes feed into the output of like what you create and what you reflect upon and then what lessons you've learned. And I think my books are stronger because I think because they take place in the workplace, like if I didn't have that experience, I'd be researching it or asking people about it. And it's definitely different when you've experienced things firsthand so that you can draw upon your own experiences, take in input from others, but it's definitely coming from something that you know very well. So whether you are working in, a very 9-to-5 job, or you've done many career changes and you don't know what you want to do, I really do think that all of that can lead to something if you put it back into what you're producing and what you are putting out there in the world.
It's not wasted time because you can kind of glean from those experiences to get you on the right path. And stay away from Netflix.
Yeah, stay away from Netflix and don't use corny pickup lines and then hand somebody a rose at the end.
That should be your one last word.
Yes. I have a lot of life experiences too.
That security guard should be on your one last word. You should send him a message. Don't
do that. Please don't do that. I can actually picture her telling me this and then seeing him in my mind.
It's played out.
Yes.
It's not good.
Yes, it is not good.
Well, we only have time for, I think, maybe one more question, and then we're also going to do, like, this icebreaker thing at the end. I feel like the ice is already broken, but you want to ask one more question?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. This one's kind of fun. I didn't know if I should go more fun or more serious.
Let's do fun.
What's the most romantic gesture you've ever done for anyone, and what's the most romantic gesture you've ever received?
I'm like blanking on the one that I've done, which is awful. It's like, have I done anything nice for anybody? I can tell you right now, my husband did a really nice thing for me recently, and that was to frame the covers of all of my books.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And put them on all, like on our wall, and he just put this one up, so it was just nice to see the whole collection finally. But he's done that every time the book was released for my birthday or for Mother's Day, and kind of combines the gifts. So it was neat to see that. And he does it without me asking. So he'll ask for the picture because it has to come from me. It's like, I need a high-res picture, but then he'll put it up on the wall and everything.
That's really sweet.
Yeah,
That's a good gesture.
Yeah. And I would say, knowing my husband loves Disneyland, we find any way to get there, even if it's inconvenient, and he knows that it's hard to plan and to whatever. So I think we try to go there also at least once a year. So I know that is his like one true love, more than me.
That's a romantic gesture, since it's not your true love.
Yes, it is not.
You're doing
Definitely not my true love. Yes, he knows too. He's like, we have to get up at 7 a.m. so we could be the first ones in, and that sounds wonderful.
We did Disney World a few years ago with our cousin and her husband who had never been, and the first day we're like 6 a.m. guys, we gotta get to the parks, and they're like, this is not vacation, this is worse than our job.
Yes, there's a lot of planning involved, and that is not my favorite. But knowing that when we get there, he's so excited, and then we stay there as long as he wants, and it's ride whatever he wants. There are some that I bow out of though, because there's some of the newer things that just came out. Rise of the Resistance and things like that. He really wanted to show me, so I was like, okay, I guess Yes, I'll do
Took
it
one
with
for the
you.
team.
Yes, but it was good. It ended up being okay.
Nice. So I think before I do that little icebreaker thing, really fast, I was just very curious about this. There was a point in time when Garth Brooks was your neighbor, which is a funny coincidence because I actually opened for Garth Brooks.
Really?
When he played the Listening Room Cafe in Nashville, he played to a sold-out crowd. I stood on the sidewalk. He didn't know that I was opening for him, but I stood on the sidewalk and I played for anyone who walked by.
Oh.
And I made $2.
Yes.
So I think I'm the winner of that.
Yes,
story.
I think you know what, you made a profit.
I
So.
did, exactly. But so Garth Brooks, your neighbor, what's up with that?
Oh, so he moved into our neighborhood. So I hope he's
closer
not
to
watching,
you
but no. Yes, just because he loves me. So we live out in the middle of nowhere, and we live on a hill. And at the end of the hill was where the former mayor was of the small town. And then he moved out, and we were like, I wonder who's going to move into this, what we thought was a mansion, but it turns out, according to Zillow and Redfin or whatever, it's not a mansion. Or wasn't back then. He did knock it down and make his own compound. But he ended up not only buying that house and then tearing it down, but he bought the other side of the hill, which we didn't even know was for sale. Like, how do you know... how do you just buy a side of a hill? But he did, and it's
cool.
like, yeah, it's like a small mountain. He just decided to buy half of it. So he kind of basically took that property and then extended it to the other side. And we didn't know all that was going on, but then finally we did one of those Google satellite things, and we were like, what is that? And then we zoom in, it's like a warehouse. There's a helicopter landing pad. Oh, there's a tennis court. And we were like, this is all on the other side of the hill? We have no idea. We can't see.
So I like that the man giving your friend the rose is creepy, but you guys kind of micro-stalking Garth Brooks.
A little
That's
bit.
fine.
Yes, that's for anybody to stalk, actually. So feel free.
No, we agree.
Yes, so we realized he was doing all this stuff on the other side, and you see a gate and a bunch of trees, but you don't know actually that he was doing
That's
all
crazy.
that.
That's
yes,
really cool.
Yes. So he's actually still owns the property. I think he's given it to his daughters because they
Nice.
still live there. Yeah.
Awesome.
But we don't live there anymore,
Okay.
as of 5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
But yes.
I was just so curious.
Yes.
about that.
Yes, but it's funny because I think at some point when he had smaller kids and back in the day, he just drove around the neighborhood with like a golf cart, so it wasn't like he was hiding from anybody.
That's cool.
Yeah.
He seems like a really down to earth, cool guy. Okay, so really fast, I'm gonna
Yes.
give you a phrase, and you're just gonna respond with whatever comes to mind. And we'll
Okay.
just see what happens. So, breakfast food.
Pop-Tarts? Even I don't like Pop-Tarts. I don't know why that came to mind.
Oh, it
I
came
actually
to
don't.
mind. That's fine. It's a good answer. Star sign.
Oh, I'm an Aquarius, so I guess I will say that. Yes,
Ice cream flavor.
mint chocolate chip specifically. Yes,
It's good.
yeah.
Spirit animal.
Sloth.
Good. We have a song about a sloth. That sounds
Okay, you might need to
enticing.
close with that because that sounds like my type of song.
You know what? Let's close with that. That sounds
Okay.
good. Well, thank you so much, Suzanne, for being on TeaTime Tunes. It's been such a pleasure to
Yes.
have you, and we can't wait for your event tonight at Parnassus Books.
All right. Well, thank you both for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Cool. That was awesome. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. We appreciate
I was like,
it.
I don't know any answers apparently. Well, thank you for warming up for later tonight. 'cause
I
was
love that
like-
you said Pop-Tart.